legacy sequels might be the kind of movie that I go into with the most caution. In this day and age, Blade Runner 2049 and Top Gun Maverick are the exception to the rule. It's usually just a nostalgia fest with no reason to exist. But I love Beetlejuice. I watched the first movie all the time growing up. I saw it at the Alamo Drafthouse, and I got their sandworm popcorn bucket. It's so fun. Beetlejuice is just such an iconic and fun film. I'm surprised it took them 36 years to follow up with another one. And I liked the trailer. I heard they were prioritizing practical effects and that handmade feel of the original. Michael Keaton thought it was important to limit Beetlejuice's screen time. It was all looking good, and I'm happy to report that I actually think they did a pretty good job with this. The juice is indeed loose. Maybe a little too loose, but loose nonetheless, so let's talk about it. The approach here is basically that Winona Ryder's character Lydia is older now. She has a ghost show and a shitty boyfriend played by a very funny Justin Theroux. She has a daughter, Jenna Ortega's Astrid, who she's on bad terms with, and a family tragedy leads them all back to the ghost house where the first film took place. I really liked that it felt like a continuation of the story and not just a rehash. Characters and their relationships have changed, and it is very rewarding that they've stayed true to the funky character designs and the feel of the afterlife and just the overall insane tone of Beetlejuice. It could be just as funny, but maybe not quite as clever as the original. I will say though, it's rated PG-13, and so they get to drop their one singular F-bomb, and when they do, it's actually very funny. And then they kind of ruin it by doing another one later but bleeping it out. But we know that Tim Burton, despite his more problematic traits as a director, is just such a singular technical filmmaker, and that's what makes Beetlejuice so unique and just a fun world to be in. So on that front, this movie does not disappoint. Sure, there are some growing pains with it being modern. The 80s charm is a bit dulled by the fact that there are Teslas and all that, but it doesn't really fall into the CGI fest digital gloss trap of so many modern remakes and sequels. Jenna Ortega is a really nice addition. I mean, she's Winona Ryder's mini-me. Of course, she fits in wonderfully here as her daughter Astrid. In terms of her character here though, considering how much of a thing it's been, and I'm so glad, I love to see that like she and Winona have found solace in each other. Winona has clearly been a mentor to Jenna, and they've connected to each other through a love of film. I just thought that some of that would translate in the film, but it's really let down by the narrative. Like, their mother-daughter relationship is set up to be the emotional core of the story, but we get next to zero real conversations between the two of them, and so it's just unsatisfying. I want to tell myself, like, dude, it's a freaking Beetlejuice movie, who cares? But I don't know, I found the, like, found family aspect of the original film genuinely very touching, so I can have standards. There's even a big reunion scene between the two of them and someone else who's really important to them that's just totally brushed past. So I think I actually found the most effective part of it to be the small moments between Catherine O'Hara and Winona Ryder's characters. Catherine O'Hara, by the way, she is just so funny. If you haven't watched Schitt's Creek, she's like a comedic masterclass in that and everything else. But we have this history with their characters that I think I enjoyed seeing how their relationship has evolved, especially because Lydia is older now and she's a mother and they can relate to each other in that way. But otherwise, we just don't get the proper attention to these things because there's just so much going on. I haven't even mentioned yet that Astrid has like this cute love interest, and that's a whole thing. It kind of spends the first half establishing all of these threads, and the second half just zooting through the conclusions, if there even are any. Tim Burton is dating Monica Bellucci, like iconic, stunningly beautiful Italian actress. I'm not sure if people know that, but she's in the movie as Beetlejuice's ex-wife, and components of it are really fun. She's a quote-unquote soul sucker, and yes, they do make that joke. There's a fun gothic black and white flashback in Italian because, you know, she's Italian and she's Tim Burton's girlfriend. And it's actually kind of stunning how much she just doesn't matter in the movie, especially because it's implied that in a way the entire plot like hinges on her. They need her for something, and then it turns out that that's just not the case. It's not a twist or anything. It's just kind of thoughtless story construction. So I think that's a good microcosm of just how convoluted and overcomplicated the narrative is here. You'll go through 30 minutes and be like, oh yeah, Willem Dafoe is in this as a dead, showboating B-movie action star who's posing in the afterlife as a hard-boiled detective for some reason. Probably just because it's super funny and Willem Dafoe is awesome, which, when it's Beetlejuice, I think that these movies, similarly to the character, are so odd and charming that they can kind of get away with a lot, and you're like, it's Beetlejuice. So that was kind of my reaction here. It's got a lot of issues, especially structurally and narratively. I don't think it's as good as the original, but I think people are gonna really like this. I mean, Beetlejuice is such a classic. It's such a fun world, and I had fun revisiting it. This weekend isn't super packed, so I say go for it and see it in theaters if you want to see something this weekend. But I'm going to give Beetlejuice Beetlejuice 3 out of 5 stars. Why not? So let me know your thoughts on Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, guys. If you've seen it already, let me know what you thought. Let me know if you plan on seeing it. Do you like the original? Don't forget to like and subscribe and keep an eye out for more videos soon. Thanks for watching.